So I sent a couple of people through your course, the property manager course. I'm not sure how many hours it is. I know I took it back in the day. I think it was 2 Saturdays. I took it over, but
Mhm.
for listeners, kind of tell us what that course, what the goals are, kind of what that criteria is that you're putting out there for people to learn and get that certificate. Listen, the certificate's awesome because my one guy, he's not even a property manager. He's in the sales part. He loved it.
Oh,
He
great.
showed it all. He hung it up on his desk, and like so, the certificate does mean something to people. So
That's great. Well, no, we cover everything. A big portion of it is the ordinance that, I have an attorney come in. Actually, the actual criteria is led by professionals. People think I teach the whole class. No, I don't. I have good partners who are actually out there doing, my ordinance conversation. It is taught by a landlord attorney. We go over fair housing. We go over best practices, meaning marketing, tenant selection. We don't really go into maintenance too much because that's a separate class. And we don't cover evictions in the initial certificate class. And we go over insurance. I have a person from CHA comes in that just gives an overall basic knowledge of, operating in the city. And it can be challenging. And I wish I could just give you a silver bullet way to, if you do exactly these things, you're going to get the best tenant of the world, but it's no promises. But if you have systems in place, hopefully, it'll be profitable and it'll be a happy medium somewhere. So
the funny thing is, I was talking to somebody. It was in the last year, but they made a really dumb mistake on their property, and they're self-managing. And I kind of said, like, man, come on, like that's pretty bad. And he goes, I know, they taught me in the CIC class that I had to learn the hard way. So a lot of it's funny how in life you can listen to this podcast all day, you can go in the classes, but sometimes you have to get hit upside the head and then reflect on that what Jessica was right.
Yeah, but it's crazy. Like these workshops, you say, I don't have time. And it's like, well, $25, $50, whatever it is. Like it's to avoid that $5,000 mistake.
Oh man.
Right. Like it's crazy. And I believe this will air beforehand. Maybe it'll probably be sold out by then, but it looks like the intro to mixed use that you were referencing is Thursday, May 12th. That actually might be the day this releases. I should know our schedule. I don't. But if not, we'll link to upcoming workshops you have. And I know from experience too, do you guys still do the on-demand replay?
Yes.
So if you miss it, you could, you miss the networking part of it, but you can at least still consume the content if you can't make the physical date.
Right. Not for the mixed use, because I don't have technology set. That won't be filmed. That's actually truly in person. So we might do a webinar spinoff afterwards for those who missed it. They'll be able to take it at a later date, but I'm not going to record it, the live session.
Let me just break down some math for real fast, along the lines of what you're saying, Tom. For all you guys listening here, we always say we don't have time, but that's kind of BS. It's always we don't have the right priorities in place. And you go and you take, even if it's an 8-hour course, let's just say that 8-hour course with CIC, the amount of things that you're going to learn in that time period, or maybe some resources you can now use I think I remember when I got out of the class, I used a couple of those people that actually taught classes for a few years after that as my kind of network. But the amount of time that your 8-hour day, 8 hours, whatever it might be, amount of time that you're spending versus the amount you're learning versus the amount your risk you're kind of removing from yourself. Now, a lot of things people that you learn in that class, you don't even realize you're doing wrong or realizing how much you're putting yourself, your tenants, your partners at risk because you don't know what you don't know. And there's just so much of that. And there's so much, there's tens of thousands of dollars in value in a certificate like you guys do for that property management class. Or, when you talk about these, the fair housing classes, or you talk about going over the RTLO or the how to screen properly. Not many people know about the darn just amendment thing right now. It's like, man, you don't realize how much just a headache of getting dragged into one of those fair housing cases is even those are always guilty to proven innocent. So if you could do anything to avoid that, like it is worth like all the time you can put up front to make sure you avoid just one of those scenarios.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'll share a quick horror story here. Like, so we just listed a property for an older couple, and, in Avondale. Great, multiple offers. The thing went smooth, but I found out through the process they had a spat with their tenant because I was like, hey, there's a little animosity there. Once we're under contract, I was like, what was that all about? And they had a disagreement, And she went and found out, she wasn't getting interest on her security deposit. These people had been, landlords since the 70s, never realized it. And one day they got a letter from her lawyer asking for, $38,000, whatever it was. Right. And they ended up settling out of court for a much less amount. But it's like doing nothing wrong, taking care of the property. They owe this person, $10 of interest, but it's a huge fee. Right. And it's those things that can be avoided. So yeah, again, just trying to put a tangible point on this topic here.
One more, Jessica, I'm going to go on one more thing, like the opportunity cost. We're all on here because we're trying to create as much opportunity or take advantage of as much opportunity as we can in the shortest amount of time. When you get pulled into all these dumb court cases, answering legal letters, we had to put together something. There's actually something we didn't do wrong, but we had to put together. So even when you don't do anything wrong, you still get dragged into these things. But we had to put together like documents upon request for something, for a security deposit return that wasn't, they were saying wasn't justified, but it probably took 4 or 5 hours of our time in that sense. So anything you can avoid of having to be in those situations is huge. You're losing opportunity. Those 4 or 5 hours is other opportunity that you could be spending doing other things or enjoying life with your family.
Right. And just keep in mind, I don't know is not a defense. When you go to court, you can't say, I don't know. I didn't know.
Ignorance is bliss till you get in trouble.
Yeah. Just saying.